welcome to Tracy Mommy Reads. I am back again with another video. Today, I was initially going to talk about a trip that I took to Japan a couple of weeks ago, but I wanted to keep, things a bit bookish, right? Since this, after all, is a booktube channel. There wasn't anything bookish on the trip. Well, I did read. So I did read a few books while I was there. One I actually started while I was there, but I didn't finish it till I got back. Though I had 3 books on the plane, I read Marry Me Not, which was the second book in a new Gabrielle Sands a series that she started. And I loved her other series with the sisters, like When She Loves, and okay, the other titles are not coming to mind, but I'll cut away here and put like the books. But anyway, in this series, there is in the new series, it's like friends and relatives of people from the other series. So everything's so interconnected, and it was pretty cool to see some of the characters pop up, because like some of the names came up and I was like, oh, Cleo, I remember her from, she had a story, and whatever. And I like when authors do that. Like, I will read series now that if I'm interested, and if it's like a story that one of the other characters is getting their story, and maybe you can kind of get some follow-up what happened to, the other couples or whatever. But I just can't do the cliffhangers where I gotta wait a year or 6 months for these books to come out so I can get the rest of the story. But yeah, I really enjoyed that one. Then I also... And I finished that one on the way there because the 14-hour flight, well, it was like 13 and a half, and I couldn't sleep, which was awful for the jet lag when we got there. Just did mostly like shopping, ate some cool things, saw some sights, but mostly shopping. And yeah, 2 of the other books that I read and started while I were there, like, were for the ABC challenge that I'm doing, which I'm almost finished with that. I have 2 books left, so we'll definitely be talking about that and recapping before the end of the year. One was The Perfect Ruin by Shnora Williams, and the other was 0 Days by Ruth Ware. So that was my P and my Z for the ABC challenge. Took me a couple of days to get back to normal as far as sleep schedule and feeling like I wasn't about to pass out. That is a long journey. It is a very long journey. But what I wanted to really talk about today is, I don't know if I mentioned to you guys how, like, whenever I'm scrolling primarily on Instagram, because that's really the only social media channel outside of YouTube, but channel that I really am on is Instagram. And whenever I'm scrolling and going through some bookish feeds or whatever, I do screenshots. That's how I find out about a lot of books. If I don't just happen to see them when I'm scrolling up through Kindle, or if they don't come across like on the book of the month, like some of these books is like, I never heard of that, So whenever I do see a book, it's on Bookstagram, then I do a screenshot. It's after I do the screenshots, then I create notes. I have so many random notes that I need to organize better, but I'll put the screenshots in a note, maybe for these all the screenshots for June, July, August, or what have you. And a lot of times if I do a screenshot, I will go out to, because the Bookstagrammer person, sometimes they give you details about, oh, and this book was about XYZ, or they may just say, this book had my jaw on the floor. So, or they'll say, I gave this 5 stars, my 5-star reads or whatever. So then I go out and I look up the blurb for the book, on Amazon or just Google it or whatever, to see, okay, would I maybe have the same reaction, or does this even sound like something I want to read? And if it's not, then I just go ahead and delete it off my camera roll. And sometimes I won't even screenshot it. I may just toggle, if I have that person's account pulled up and they're talking about the book, then I go toggle back to see what the blurb is about. And if it's not something I'm interested in, I may not even do a screenshot. But all of these are screenshotted books. It's not even all of them. These are just a handful that I've added to my ever-growing TBR. And this is just the TBR on my phone and in my head, because I also have a TBR section over here that I need to take care of, that I don't know why I'm ignoring those books and adding more to them. But, hey, I heard somebody say one time, as long as you have a TBR list, you're never going to be, looking for something to read. So there's that. So like I said, I'm only going to share a handful of them. So this video isn't, an hour long. But one of the books that I keep seeing is a book called A Love Like the Sun by Rhys M. Nielsen. And this one I think is a romance book, if I'm not mistaken. Let's look at the blurb here on my Kindle. Okay, it says, lifelong best friends spend a fateful summer discovering what might happen if they were to be something more in this radiant, heart-clenching adult debut. Okay, yeah, so the main characters in this book looks like they were best friends since childhood. He has money, okay, and she is doing something, she has a business, a natural hair store, and it's struggling, and he wants to give her money to, help with the business, but she doesn't want to be accepting handouts, and it looks like she hasn't seen him in a while. So she's doing him a favor. It's a fake dating thing. So they're going to fake date and find out, pretty soon how the fake becomes the real. So yeah, just based on this and some of the reviews, it's 4.5 stars out of 813 ratings on Kindle. Definitely adding this one to my list of books to read. That's the thing I like about Kindle too. I don't know if you can see it. Let me see if I can hold this in a way. I actually have a pop socket that I should have on here. But here, there's a thing that says add to list. And if you click on it, it brings up all these lists that I have. And so I'm adding this to my book list. So there you have it. It was added. So that's a handy thing if you have a Kindle and you don't know about that feature. You can set up lists, of, books that you want to read, items that you want to buy, maybe a gift list for your birthday, and you can even send these lists to people. So if you have an Amazon account, which I guess you have to have one to be on Kindle Unlimited, then you can, because is this book on Kindle? No, this book isn't on Kindle Unlimited. I would have to buy this one. I probably would try it at the library first. And if I can't get it there, I'll probably buy it. I mean, it's $9.99, which, that's in the budget. But yeah, Love Like the Sun, Rhys Nielsen. Okay, so let's see what's another one on here. Okay, and this one is fairly new. This one is called Dissection of a Murder by Jo Murray. Yeah, I've been seeing this one a lot, and it just came out. Well, it came out May 5th, but of this year. And it's at 4.5 stars with over 5,000 ratings. And this one is about, let's see what this one is about. Oh yeah, this one, there is an attorney. It says when Layla Reynolds is handed her first murder case, she's shocked by the victim, a well-known, well-respected judge whose death sent shockwaves through the legal community. She's also incredulous. She's nowhere near experienced enough to handle such a high-profile assignment, but the defendant is insistent. He wants her to represent him. So somebody has killed a judge, and they're like, I want, Leela or Layla, I don't know how we're pronouncing her name, to be my attorney. But here's the thing. She's going up against a ruthless prosecutor who happens to be her husband. So, yeah, and the last paragraph here, it says, it's an impossible situation, yet Layla is determined to sway the jury until she's blindsided once again by a shadowy figure from her past. Suddenly, Layla finds herself fighting not only for her client in marriage, but also to keep her own secrets buried. And if she has to rewrite the rules to win, so be it. So yeah, I've heard a lot about this one. So we're gonna add to the list here. There we go. You can never really go wrong with the Steve Kavanaugh book. I've been seeing this one a lot. I'm trying to wait for it to load here. But the book is called Two Kinds of Stranger by Steve Kavanaugh. And he writes a lot of kind of gritty thrillers with, police procedurals and things like that. He wrote one of my favorite books from a couple of years ago, Kill for Me, Kill for You, Cat and Mouse. It was crazy. I really enjoyed that one. And I think he wrote the book 13. And where this guy killed somebody and ended up on the jury of the person he killed. He was a juror. But yeah, he does some pretty good ones. And again, this one looks like it has like 4.5 stars overall, with 4,600 people rating it. Now, he has a character named Eddie Flynn. And I think it's kind of like how Walter Mosley was writing at one time. He had a lot of books with Easy Rawlings. And it's one of their like characters who, is usually a detective or a private eye or something. But the books are all standalone. I don't know, maybe they mentioned something from a previous book. But this says that it's a part of, it says book 9 of 10 in the of Eddie Flynn. But I don't think they may be interconnected, but I don't think you have to read the previous book. Because I've read, like I said, a handful of his books that, like, I didn't read them in any particular order or anything like that. And Eddie Flynn's name came up, but I was always able to follow the storyline of whatever book I was reading. So it looks like this woman, Ellie Parker, she was a social media influencer or something, and she finds out that her husband was having an affair with her best friend. So she, decides, because she was hurt, she has this new mission to help others in need, even strangers. So it sounds like that's going to come back to bite her in the ass. Yes. Adding this one to the list. Yeah, and this list too, it's growing as well. I don't know, one day, maybe that'll be, I was just having a thought. I'm going to have a sidebar here, as my intrusive thoughts win for a moment. I'm thinking maybe next year, for 2027, I will do something like with all these TBRs. Maybe that'll be the channel content. Maybe it'll be the year of, getting my reading list down to 0 or something. When I said that out loud just now, I'm like, girl, who you trying to kid? But I'm going to work something out with that, with all these TBRs that I have in real life and on these lists. We're going to like stop, because books are going to keep coming out. It's like, when am I going to get to these books if I don't like prioritize them? Damn me for being such a mood reader. Okay, I'm going to do one more. I have like 10 that I had pulled up, but I'll probably read them and talk about them at some point on the channel. But for the purposes of this video, the last one, I've seen this one a lot too. Man of My Dreams by Olivia Worley. And this one, it looks like it's just right at a solid 4 stars, but it only has like a little under 200 ratings. But it just came out in June. And I'll read this first little paragraph. A romance author is shocked when one of her characters in progress seemingly comes to life. But is he too good to be true? In this dramatic and twisty thriller, perfect for fans of Ashley Winstead and Kate Alice Marshall, where the truth is really stranger than fiction. So yeah, when I first saw like people talking about this, I thought this was like a romance book. Like, you know, this woman's an author and she meets this guy who is just seemingly perfect, but eerily similar to a character that she's writing. But this sounds like it's more of a thriller, which is really something now that I'm really into, because someone calls it dark and clever, spine-tingling, and so twisted. So definitely adding to list. Yeah, let's add that. Yeah, so like I said, I'm going to stop here, but just want to kind of give you a peek into my process when I am, you know, kind of compiling my TBR, where I get these recs from, and how I go about compiling lists. And again, because I'm a mood reader, you know, sometimes I will go on a run or a tear with nothing but suspense books. Maybe I'll read 3 or 4 in a row. And then it's like, okay, I'm kind of sick of that. I need, you know, something to clean my palate. So I'll do a rom-com, or even, you know, get some stuff from a nonfiction book that I've been meaning to read. And then maybe going back to like a mafia romance or something. Because the thing that I think is cool about like some of the, like, whether it's a dark romance, a urban fiction type romance, or the mafia romances, is that you almost get the best of both worlds, because there's definitely that romance piece, and it's always guaranteed a happily ever after. But then you do have that thriller piece, because there's always a foe or somebody that the main characters are having to work together to defeat or whatever. So, you know, I think that's why I maybe gravitate towards those books, is because they give you both in one book. You know, you kind of, it's a splitting of genres in a way. But yeah, anyway, if any of the books that I mentioned are also on your TBRs, or if you have already read them and you want to suggest which book maybe I should start with first, let me know in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure that you like this video, and go ahead and take the opportunity to subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. You guys enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'll see you next week. Bye.